Okay. We will now begin the call to the order for the audit committee meeting. And could I have everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I wonder if I can get the roll call. Mr. Ferrara.
Mr. Chairman, Albert Hayes.
Here.
Jeffrey Rosenthal.
Here.
Mark Finkel.
Here.
Ken DeWitt.
Here.
Robert Leslie.
Here.
Robert Fulton.
Here.
John Hodgson. Stephanie Rizicki. Richard Ferrara. Here. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like to just have a motion to adopt or revise the meeting agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
We did it out of committee.
Point where this is the committee,
Yes.
and there were 2 committee members. Did you appoint a 3rd committee member?
We did not. I don't believe. We just.
If it'd be just me and Penny right now. So probably Jeff couldn't make a
No,
motion
we did
or
not.
anything, yeah.
Is it your plan to appoint a 3rd committee member?
We talked about it, and I assume we're gonna get a couple more board members, and we gotta redo the whole committee structure. I'm just waiting to see if we get, we can see if we get, till we get some new committee members.
So Mr. Hayes is acting as the committee chair of this?
Correct.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mr. DeWitt and a second by Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
So we can do it outside the committee?
And do what?
I'm sorry. Is it, well, don't the motion and the seconds have to be within the committee members?
They do.
So it have to be Mr. Rosenthal or Mr.
Yeah,
Hayes?
he caught that. I didn't.
I thought the committee members were
I actually didn't make that motion.
Mr. DeWitt.
I have Mr. Hayes and Mr. Rosenthal.
No, I seconded it.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Mr. Rosenthal.
No, I can't participate.
Why not?
You're on the committee.
I am on the audit. Okay, I made that motion
And
then.
Mr. Hayes is the second. Okay.
That works.
So we'll need to have
All
some
set?
compliment, you know?
Moving along. And if I can get the approval of the May 8th, 2018 Audit Committee minute meetings.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We got under new committee business. We got some new business here. We got a presentation of independent audit for the year ending June 30, 2018. Mr. Ferrara.
Mr. Chairman, I provided the board, everybody should have a copy of the audit.
Yes, we got that.
A couple of interesting things leading up to the final audit document that you see. The principal, Richard Liebigson, has left KBL, is working through all of his existing audits there while he is working for his new firm, Geller Robinson. The lion's share, a great majority of his work was done at KBL. You see the audit is issued at KBL. I think what's going to be advantageous for the district this coming year is that Galleros and Robinson, we're told and we're trying to confirm, is also an MWB certified firm. KBL will not be upon Mr. Liebigson's final audit work there because he is the reason why they were an MWB certified company. So I think this is going to work out well for the district. If we want to continue using Richard, and the district would have to switch partners anyway because that was Richard Liebigson's 5th year as an audit partner. So, and that we'll get into that probably in May when we look at engaging a new auditor.
Great.
In any event, on page, I'm going to focus first on the independent auditor's report, which is pages 1 through 3. On page 2 at the top, is the most important thing for us, and that's where the auditor expresses his opinion. And in this case, it's just one long run-on sentence. And essentially what it says is we received another unqualified audit. Or, to say it differently, that the consolidated financial statements represented above in all material respects the respective financial position of the business type activities in the aggregate discretely presented component units of the district as of the end of June 2018 and 17, and the respective changes in its financial position and cash flows thereof for the years then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. Again, we've received another unqualified audit. On page 6, under the MDAs, the management discussion and analysis, you'll see the regulating district's operation summary. The results, the final results in terms of operations this year, if you look at both the Hudson and the Black, are very similar to last year. We're now basically in a place where, given our, are you there, Mr. Chairman? You got it? Given our revenue stream, which is basically statutorily defined, our fairly static operating expenses, you'll note that the operating revenue and/or loss in both areas are going to be fairly consistent going forward. The thing that makes the district or any operating entity of the state look like it's operating at a loss are the very large entries that are now required through GASB 65 and 68, which largely concern the post-employee benefits and pensions. Years ago, before 65 and 68, none of the state entities had to bookkeep that, so there was no charge to expenses. Since then, we've now had to charge expenses based on a study that we had done years ago, probably back in 2014, if my memory serves me. And those entries are rather large because they're trying to recognize a cost in a current period for what the actual retiree costs are, and it also factors in some future data. But at the end of the day, in the Hudson River area, that number's been right around $900,000 to $1 million a year. The Black River, it's around $170,000 to $200,000 a year. So you take those entries out, which are just bookkeeping entries required by GASB, and we look like what we should look like. A zero. Revenues and expenses are fairly even. So this is all good. So going forward, you will see.
Other than it looks pretty ominous now that you have all these negative figures all the time.
Right. Well, it's ominous because the other thing that's missing is the fact that the legislature still hasn't taken up the funding of any future or employee benefits or pension costs. So even if the district said, you know what, we don't like that negative number, we'd like to start funding, setting aside reserves to counter that number, we can't do it. The legislature has to approve that. And nobody believes that's going to happen in probably anybody's lifetime here. So, but they
gave themselves a raise.
What's that?
They gave themselves a raise.
They can certainly do that. So what their priorities are or what they are. Most of the rest of this audit is actually pretty much boilerplate. The statement of net position is virtually unchanged from last year. A lot of this also has to do with the fact that we're not recognizing any bad debt. So we've gotten all the bad debt basically booked and behind us. So we are pretty much, knock on wood, no change to apportionments in the assessments that we receive from those apportionments. These numbers should not change very much over the years. There are a couple of items in the very back letters that deal with, on page 41, that's the independent auditor's report. Basically, the last 2 pages deals with the independent auditor's report on internal control and financial reporting, and that's also a positive report. If the board has any other questions having to do with any part of this order, I'm more than happy to.
Overall, we're looking very good.
We are.
That's good. Is that it?
That's my report.
Very good. Well, if we have no more business with the audit committee, I can ask for an adjournment. Anybody make a motion for that?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
It has to be in the committee.
Mr. Rosenthal made the motion, Mr.
I'll
Page
second it.
Oh. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.